Yesterday, while we were working on our story map planners, we talked about really asking yourself as the writer, what is the heart of your story? What are you going to kind of center your story around? Well, today we're going to take it a step deeper, and my question for you today is, what is the theme of your story? As we move into fifth and eventually into sixth grade, you guys are at a point where you're ready to teach people stuff. You've lived enough, you've experienced enough, you have lessons to teach about life. And your story is one way that you can do that. So in a minute, I'm going to invite you to take a look at my story with me as I think about what do I want to teach people with my story? What's my message? And then I'm going to challenge you to go back into your story and figure out your message. Now, before we get too far in, let's remember that when we're talking about the theme, we're talking about the message. Remember, theme is hidden in the words, the message. And we can think of it like a life lesson. A theme is something that people can learn from your writing or from any story and apply it to aspects in their own life or see that message happening in other books and movies. Now I'm going to come back and look at my story map, and I remember that it's about Cassidy, and she has all these problems with her cousins not being fair to her, and she's trying to prove that she's as tough and important and capable as they are. And she has this big moment where she finally gets a chance to try with the go-kart, and then she gets it stuck in the tree, and she has to figure out how to get it unstuck to show that she can handle it. And I drew the heart. You guys will remember you were with me when I drew the heart, and I decided that the heart of my story is that the cousins are not being fair and Cassidy is trying to stand up for herself. So all of it really centers around that problem of the cousins not treating her like an equal, and she has to kind of stand up and say, hey, I want to be treated like an equal. So now I've got to think, what is my theme? What am I trying to teach? So I'm going to start because it really helps me to have a little drawing. I'm going to draw that megaphone thing that the girl from the first line had. She can use it to project her message. So I invite you in a minute to draw your megaphone with me. I'm going to start with a circle, and then I've got lines coming out, and then I just have a circle at the end, and then I can put a little swoop at the bottom. That's the handle you can hold on. So there's my megaphone, and I'm going to write my theme. What is my message? What do I want to teach people? Well, I've got a character who doesn't like being ignored or treated like she's less than because she's younger and she has to stand up for herself. I think the message, the thing I really want my reader to understand is sometimes you have to remind people to take you seriously, or sometimes you have to stand up for yourself when people aren't treating you the way you should be treated. Yeah, I think that's my message. I'm going to write that. You have to stand up for yourself. You have to stand up for yourself. That's my message. In my story, I'm going to show Cassidy doing that, where she gets a little bit braver and has to stand up for herself. So that's your first step. You can think about, what is my message? You have to stand up for yourself. Okay, now how am I going to show that in my story? Well, to show that in my story, I can use signposts, just like we find in our reading, because my writing is just a story. So I'm going to think about what signposts I know that can help me remember or can help me show my theme. I'm going to write my little acronym at the bottom to help me. Those of you who've been with me in reading group know we do the "We always take my aunt camping near exotic waterfalls." So I can think about that, and I'm just going to go through and think, could I use any of these in my story? All right, what about W? Words of the wiser. Could I put a words of the wiser in my story? Ooh, I could have somebody give her advice, really wise advice. So I'm going to put words of the wiser. I think I might have the dad remind her. Maybe the dad will say that. Remember, the dad swoops in and says, hey, it's her turn. Maybe before, as she's getting in the car, maybe the dad will say, you know, Cassidy, sometimes you just have to stand up for yourself. So maybe dad will tell her to stand up for herself. That would be a good words of the wiser. Okay, Cool, I'm gonna put a check mark since I did one. Again and again. Maybe I could have her over and over think, I wish I could stand up for myself. I'll think about that, I'm not sure. Tough questions. Ooh, maybe she could ask herself, why am I so scared to stand up for myself? I like that. That might be a great thing for her to think. Why am I so scared to stand up for myself? Or maybe I'll fix it. Maybe I'll make it, why am I so afraid to stand up for myself? I'll think about that as I'm drafting and revising. Memory moment. Maybe I could have her remember a time she stood up for herself or saw somebody else stand up for themselves. I don't know if that fits with my story. I'll keep thinking. Aha moment. I don't know. Maybe she could have an aha moment. I'll keep thinking about it. Contrast and contradiction. I don't think that fits with my theme, so I'm gonna keep going. Numbers and statistics. I kind of might have numbers and statistics. I think I might have the cousins remind her over and over, you're only 12. You're only 12. We're 13, 15, and 16. That could be my numbers and statistics. They're going to be really clear about how old people are. Extreme or absolute language. Maybe they're going to tell her, you'll never be able to do what we. That never is very extreme. You'll never be able to do what we can do. Ooh, and then the last one I've got my word gaps. I'm not sure if I have any word gaps, but that's okay. I've got like 4 different signposts that I could sneak in throughout my story to show my theme of you have to stand up for yourself. So now I've taken my theme ideas and I put them back on my story map. I have a super complete story map right now. This story map is even better than the one I did last time because on this story map, I have my problem and I show it getting worse. I have a character box where I've really thought about my main character. I have the heart of the story where I'm thinking about what's the most important thing I want to show my reader, what's the problem my character is dealing with. And then I have my little theme megaphone with some signposts that I'm going to sneak into my story. The last thing that I'm going to want to do is just look at all those things and make sure I know where I want to put them. So maybe I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to draw a little arrow. I want the dad to say this. So I'm going to put an arrow right there to remind me that goes there. And maybe this tough question, maybe I want to put it right here in the beginning when they won't let her play video games. What about when they say, you're only 12, we're 13, 15, and 16. Oh, that'd be a great spot to also say, you'll never do what we can do. Maybe that goes right here where they tell her that she can't have a turn with the go-kart. I can keep sneaking those ideas in there for her to have those signposts to help lead my reader toward their theme. So this is your strategy for today. Look at your story map and ask yourself, what's the lesson I want to teach my reader? What is my story teaching the reader? How can I add signposts to make my message even more clear?